I'm sorry, if we can ignore roster lock rules to give the Sentinels representation at ALGS Split 1 playoffs when we saw their Split 1 roster get absolutely slapped around during the session and ended up relegated, then my homie Exodus should be allowed to coach his team again in an ALGS event. Do the right thing, Apex, you know what I mean? Imagine if this was TSM Raven. I can't help but imagine. Hey, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Q, and we are just a couple days away from the start of ALGS Split 1 playoffs in London, and it looks like we didn't even get to make it out of the weekend before kickoff, before we started with last-second pre-LAN drama. Unfortunately, it looks like Exodus, the CEO, founder, and coach of EXO Clan, competing out of the APAC South region. Yeah, that's right, the cool dude we got to chat with just a few weeks ago over here on the channel. Well, it looks like they've got themselves in somewhat of a pickle. Let's go ahead and sit in and look at their twit longer here. Hello all. If you don't know me, I'm Exodus, the founder, CEO, and coach of EXO Clan, who will be playing in the London playoffs. Basically, a mistake was made by us. The team and I looked over an important part of the coach application process, and the result is quite disappointing. We submitted our application for coaches' credentials before the deadline, following all steps correctly except for one. The Battlefy roster. I know, silly mistake. Due to me not being on the Battlefy roster for this event, we were told the day after the deadline that our submission was not eligible. Immediately we went and then added my account to the year 3 roster, but we're told rosters were locked. That's something I really want you guys to be paying attention to, all right? And adding me into the event roster was not applicable option. We all pleaded for any help admins could provide, but among not replying for days at a time and short replies when they did reply, we were given little to no help regarding the subject. I'd post screenshots, but it's against the ALGS Discord rules, which is honestly kind of fair. I understand entirely there's a rule set to abide by, but what gets to me is that this isn't a big blunder. Something small we looked over that should be easy to change is now costing us a coach for the biggest event this year, and in turn, my access to the event as a whole. There's no tickets left. It could all have been sorted out hours after the deadline hit, perhaps even before the deadline if they had reached out earlier, but instead, I've now been left with no options and no way to even be at the event in person, which is such a heartbreak if you think about it, right? After being such a part of the Apex community for a long time, whether in competitive or content creation, I'm feeling quite betrayed by the very people who make the aspect of this game possible. If anyone knows anybody who can help me be with my team, please reach out. Retweeting this to raise awareness would be fantastic. Also, I reiterate, I'm aware the fault is our own, but I do not believe such a tiny mistake should cost us so dearly. Thank you for taking time to read this. Exodus. Now, I just gotta start off by saying this. If this is all due to some weird part of the process where you need to register like your team and your coaches in 2 separate spots, and like Exodus is at least registered somewhere, then this all seems kind of silly if we're being honest. Especially since Exodus is the dang CEO of the org and has been the coach for the boys previously for other ALGS events as well. And they've been around the scene as a whole for a hot minute. Like, I'm sorry, if we can ignore roster lock rules to give the Sentinels representation at ALGS Split 1 playoffs when we saw their Split 1 roster get absolutely slapped around during the session and ended up relegated, then my homie Exodus should be allowed to coach his team again in an ALGS event. Do the right thing, Apex, you know what I mean? Imagine if this was TSM Raven. I can't help but imagine that this would have been resolved before it was even an issue. If there's one thing that we can take away from our chat with Dark Zero's coach PvP over here on the channel, it is the fact that the coach's job is mostly done during preparation, but on game day, we still have to realize that the coach's role is still very vital, right? You help keep the players focused, attitudes in check, as well as you do help make some micro adjustments along the way. This could be a really big hit to a team if things don't go according to plan, which, let's be honest, you can almost always bet that that's going to happen when you're going against a lobby filled with the world's best competition. But what's worse is now with there being no tickets left, like Exodus said, if this situation doesn't get resolved, not only could Exodus not be on the stage with the boys, but out of the venue completely. And it's kind of hard when you talk about for orgs who are already having to pay just for their coaches' travel. I mean, we've seen some orgs having to do GoFundMe just to get their coaches to London, right? So it's hard to think that such a small mistake like this, one that quite frankly probably should have been caught sooner. Cotton? I just made up a word. It's fine. We're just going to roll with it. One that should have been caught sooner, right? It feels like this shouldn't be such a big deal, especially to a team that's already playing out of such an underrepresented region, now being forced to play at an even bigger disadvantage. You know what I'm saying? If we're being honest, I think it is time that coaches start to get the same love and respect from EA that the players do. I mean, who knows? This seems to be a developing story out of London that just seemed to be breaking last night, so I'll try and keep y'all updated over here or over on my Twitter. Of course, we do still have a few more videos to do over here before London, so make sure if you want to be back for those, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on. I'll also leave the playlist of those pre-London interviews at the end of the video so you can check those out, all right? Don't forget, every like, comment, share, all those good things help me out as far as get into the tough algorithm over here on the new YouTube channel. Until we catch y'all back for the next one, man, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard, all right, y'all? It's your boy Q, signing out.
If you ain't show something, you just don't wanna be. You wanna be me, but you will never be as fresh as see you.